This time I'm going to do a video on the Delta table saws, and this video concerns the dust that falls on the floor underneath the saw. A lot of people complain about that, and this would be for the 36 725s or 36 5000 series Delta saws. And I came up with a cure for mine about 4 years ago when I bought this saw, and it's a fairly simple fix. Just remove the throat plate, and inside, right at the top of the dust chute, you need to make a little thing here to catch the sawdust from going off the front of the blade, and it comes up against the throat plate here at the top, and so that way all the dust hits this and bounces down and goes into the throat plate. And this one here is made out of wood. And I just made this last week, and I did that because the first one I made out of steel or sheet metal. Let me get it here and I'll show you. There's the first version right here. It's just made out of a piece of thin sheet metal, and it's a little more difficult to make than that wooden one was. And this one's been on there since I bought the saw 4 years ago. And this tape on the top is just to make it come up against the bottom of the throat plate without holding the throat plate up. So anyway, last week I decided, let's try to make a wooden one for people that don't want to make it out of sheet metal. And actually the wooden one was almost easier to make. It's little pieces of wood glued on each side, and I cut a little notch for the thickness of the dust chute metal to slide up into. So when it goes in, it slips inside the dust chute, right at the front of the dust chute. Just slides in, and you just push it down as far as up against my little block. Kind of hard to see down in there, but that's pretty much the basics of how it works. And I did draw up a pattern when I made the sheet metal one. I don't know if this will show up on the video or not, but there would be the dimensions. The two side pieces that are angled, they could be the same size for the wooden one. And the center rectangle piece would need to be adjusted for the thickness of the wood. The wooden one I made is only 78 thousandths thick wood, so that came to 1 5/16 wide strip in the middle. And if this shows up on the video, you'll have to stop the video to write down the measurements. Anyway, I hope that shows up. And on this paper one, you can see where I slit the sheet metal and bent the little tabs out on two sides. And the front, I had to make a separate piece here with sheet metal in it, pop riveted onto to the front side, which is a lot more involved than the wooden one. Anyway, that worked out really well for this saw. It stops almost all the dust from going down on the floor. Let me put this one back in here. The only thing is that when you use your saw, you'll have to, you can't angle the blade with that in there. You have to lift it out when you angle the blade, but that's not a problem for me at least, because I don't angle my blade too often. And there the throat plate is sitting almost right on it. I just carved the wood away until that throat plate just barely touched it. And that's all there is to it. That pretty much stops all the dust from landing on the floor down there. And I'm using a regular shop vac with a dust deputy, which hooks to the back of this table saw like they all do. And I'm using an eye socket switch there to turn my vacuum on when I turn the saw on. We'll turn it on here. And all in all, that pretty much solved the dust problem on the Delta table saw. I get very little sawdust on the floor now. A little bit comes down the back once in a while, but not much. In a month's time, I don't have hardly any sawdust. Anyway, that's one way to fix your table saw if you're having trouble with the dust. So, we'll see you later. Bye for now.